everybody, this is Heather Sides. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Spokane, Washington, and I'm looking at my screen because I think I might have everything upside down. So let's take a look here. It's definitely showing, yeah, it's showing my wall. I have my camera going the wrong direction. So let's see if we can get this turned around. Bear with me, hang on. Okay, so I at least have my screen going the right direction. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I'm at least facing the right direction now. So let's see what we can do about getting this show on the road. And I know I just put my hand right in front of the camera. Technical difficulties being what they are, right? So we'll give everybody a couple of minutes to get here. It looks like I'm on my big screen now. Let me pull it up so that I can make sure to see everyone's comments. Hello, Talina. Welcome. Okay. So let's see if I have anything big to tell you. Bill ran a half marathon on Saturday, and he did really, really well. He placed third in his age group and like 45th overall out of like 900 entrants. So he's pretty happy with how he did. Now he's gearing up to do a marathon at the end of June in Missoula, Montana. So that is the next on our stop is this running adventure. Let's see what's Phineas up to these days. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. This morning, I guess my son was taking a shower and Phineas thought that Jackson should really be playing with him. So he kept bringing toys into the bathroom and dropping them in the shower while he was showering, which I think is pretty funny. So that just cracks me up because I can totally see him doing it. It looks like my husband is home now, so I can shut my office door. I was keeping it open so the dog could go back and forth while he was home alone. But now that my husband's home, he can be on puppy patrol. So give me just a second. I'm going to shut my office door. Are you leaving again? No. Okay, then I'm going to shut my door. So my friend, are you going to be upstairs? No. Okay, then I'll leave my door open. Okay, so I lied. That was my son coming home, so we'll leave the door open. I just like to have my door shut while I'm doing my lives because it's kind of weird to be like talking to myself, sort of, even though I'm talking to you. Plus, also, I get loud, and then that way the people in the other rooms can do their thing without having to listen to me. So I've got some really fun cards for you guys this month. I've got, or this week, I've got a fun fold. I've got a new technique. I'm excited about the new technique because it's super, super simple and you're going to love it. So let me get the camera turned around and we will get this show on the road. Here we go. Hey, Robin. Hey, Kathy. Welcome. Okay, so let's see. Gotta move a few things here. Move some stuff out of the way. So as you know, the new annual catalog kicked off. Okay, everything's crooked, isn't it? The new catalog kicked off at the beginning of the month. And at the beginning of July, we have our new holiday mini catalog coming out. I say holiday, but it's really summer through winter. It's going to be July through December, and there is some amazing stuff in there. Hey, Mary, welcome. Hey, Jason, welcome. There's some really amazing stuff in there. If you want to be able to get some of these great products before the masses, when you are on my team as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you get to pre-order anything in that new mini catalog before everybody else. You can, starting this month. Also in July and August, we have Celebration coming up. And as a demonstrator, you can start earning those awesome free gifts from Stampin' Up! This month. So you might want to give some thought to joining my team, whether you are interested in starting up a business and trying to do what I do, or just being a happy shopper and getting a discount. All those things work. There's no judgment, no obligation. You can just give it a whirl, see if you like it. If you don't like it, you go back to being a customer. It's that easy. So just something to think about. If you have any questions about that and you want to find out more, you can either go to my website at, let's see, the camera's off just a little bit here, at heathersides.stampinup.net. I'm moving my camera a little bit, so bear with me. My website, you can sign up. You can also just find out more information at heathersides.stampinup.net. You can also send me an email at stamphappenings@gmail.com, or here on Facebook, you can just send me a private message too. That also works. So, okay, so I think I have sufficiently moved my camera all around and probably made many of you seasick. My camera's at a very weird angle. I turned it weird today, and so I hate that there's so much like space over here that we don't really need, but we will work with it. We're going to make it work, right? Okay, so let's get started on some of these fun new projects that I've got for you. Oh, but before we do that, last week I wasn't able to do my drawing because because I had kind of abused my time a little bit, and I'm still trying to straighten this out. Bear with me, you guys. And so I hadn't gotten the drawing done in time. So I did that. So this week we're going to be doing that drawing, and that drawing is for a pack of our Oh So Ombre designer series paper. This is amazing stuff. It was a gift during celebration, the January-February celebration in 2021. And I really had hoped that this would come back in a future catalog, and it didn't. Makes me sad, but you will love it. You can use it in so many different ways. It's so pretty, and there's several different colors of it. And so anyway, this drawing, my winner is Tina Meadows. Tina, I don't think I have your address. So if you want to send me a private message or an email at stamphappenings@gmail.com, I will pop this in the mail to you. Then I have my drawing for last week's video, which I would normally do this week. And this week's prize, I've got some of our 2020, 2022 in color square gems. And even though these are retired colors, they still look great with our other colors that we have. They pair well with some of these other colors. So this week's prize is going to Marcia Coolabert. And I hope I said that right. Marcia, I know I don't have your address. So if you will send me a private message here on Facebook or an email at stamphappenings@gmail.com, I'll get your prize in the mail to you too. Okay. Oh, yep. Now the husband is definitely home. So let me shut my door. It's so funny. As soon as Phineas hears the door start to open, he goes tearing out of whatever room he's in and runs to the back door so he can greet my husband. And then I hear my husband yelling, "Puppy!" And it's this glorious reunion like they've been separated for ages. Okay, so, I also wanted to remind Colleen, I haven't seen her on here yet tonight, but she is usually here. Colleen, you won the drawing a few weeks ago, and you won this Darling Donkeys set. I don't have your address, so I need to hear from you too. Private message or email. Let me know your address so that I can mail this out to you. All right, are you guys ready for a fun fold? Okay, this card is going to be using the Happy and Heartfelt and Uniquely Artistic stamp sets. Happy and Heartfelt is retiring at the end of the month. So I absolutely love this set. I wish it was staying. I wish that it had crossed over into our annual catalog because there's so many different messages here, 15 different messages. And I love the font and they're small and I just really like it. So I'm sad to see it go. It is retiring, like I said. So if you are in love with it like I am, but you don't have it yet, you want to make sure to get that picked up before supplies run out on it. And then Uniquely Artistic is a new one in the new annual catalog, and you may have seen me use it before. I've used it in a couple of my lives so far. Okay, so let me show you the card we're making tonight. It's a little bit of a fun fold. Got our matching envelope. This is using the Texture Chic Designer Series paper, which I think is just gorgeous. I love this paper. It's kind of muted colors, but it's just almost shabby chic, sort of, but not really. It's beautiful. I love it. And so this is the card we're making tonight. And it's a little Z fold with a little Z fold inside of it, a card within a card. So let's get going. The first thing we're going to do is get our envelope started. So let's take care of that. Using my liquid glue, my Tombow glue. Oops, a little bit bigger blob than I had intended to use. It's still a fairly new bottle, and so the glue comes out really, really fast. Okay. And I've got my strip of Designer Series paper. It's just 2.5 by 6 inches. Oh, I'm glad you like this DSP, Talina. I really do like it. I think it's so pretty. Okay. And as you can see a little bit on the back side of this particular piece, you can see like where the gold is in it. And these, this paper, one side of every sheet has the little gold detail in it. And then the other side is flat like this. Okay, so let's trim off the edge here. Okay. Uh-oh. I hear my husband talking in the other room, and it sounds like he may be getting called into work. He literally just got home from work. But maybe he's being called in. That will not go over well with Mr. Krabby Pants if that's the case. Okay, now we'll set this aside. Let it dry. Now there are a lot of pieces to this card, but it really is pretty simple, okay? So you start with just a half a sheet of basic cardstock, and this is 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. And this is our crumb cake. So I'm going to start by folding it in half. Make my sharp edge. Then I'm going to take the front flap, and I'm just going to fold it over to the edge. Line it up here. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and make a nice sharp edge there as well. And that's gonna be the basic shape of our card, okay? And that's why they call it a Z fold. You can see from this angle, it looks like a Z. Now let's start putting some of our Designer Series paper on. I've got big full-size piece right here that looks like I may need to do a little bit of doctoring. It looks like I didn't quite cut it the right length, so I'll get my trimmer here in just a minute. I've got one piece that looks like that. So let's go ahead and take care of those pieces. Let me trim this really quick. What size did I cut this? Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. I think I actually cut my my petal pink the wrong size. I did. That's okay. Give me just a minute. I'm going to recut that piece. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry about that. I hate when that happens. So now, okay, wait a minute. Maybe this piece is too big. Hang on. Sure enough, it was my designer series paper that was the wrong size. Okay, I'm ready to go. I promise. I've got my act together, or at least I'm pretending to. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and adhere my designer series paper to the petal pink strips or pieces that I've got here. There's one. You know, I think you're in good company, Talina. Talina says that she did that a few times herself this week, that she just couldn't get her brain to wrap around the proper measurements and such. And I think we've all been there. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Now let's go ahead and stick these onto our card. Ooh, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Okay, so get this piece glued down here. I don't know if this paper has a right direction or not. It's just sometimes I lay it down and it doesn't look right. So then I move it and then, I don't know. So we're just gonna pretend that I did it right if there is a correct direction for it. Okay. So I put the big piece inside, just like it's the inside of the card, right? Then I'm putting this one on and I'm trying to line it up with that inside piece, just so that the top and the bottom are roughly the same. So there's kind of an even flow across the card like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this inside piece, and this piece is, let's make sure I did it right. It's 6 3/8 this way, and 3 inches this way. I think it was 3 inches. Let's see. Oh, 3.5 inches. So 3.5 by 6 3/8, and then I scored it at 2 1/8 on this end, 2 1/8 on this end. Okay, so that is going to make the inside piece of our card. I just folded it that way and then that way. So again, another Z, right? Okay, let's get this going. Okay, now let's start decorating this piece up. Got all my little tiny pieces here. Okay. Now I've got 2 basic white pieces that are going to go here and here, okay? And then I have this piece right here that's going to go right in the middle. So let's go ahead and put this middle piece down because we don't need to do anything else to it. One of these days, I'm going to remember to put my glasses on before I start doing this, instead of sitting here and trying to figure out why it's not lining up properly. It's because I can't see. Hey Tracy, welcome. Okay, now for these 2 pieces right here, let me check what I did just to make sure. For the first one, we're going to keep it very simple, and I just have these little 1/8 inch strips of the designer series paper, and got my liquid glue here. So we'll start by gluing this little piece down. Doesn't take a whole lot. In fact, I may actually have put a little more on there than what I needed. Little goes a very long way, and you just don't want it oozing out everywhere and making a mess. Okay, so let's cut that off. Now, do you think this one's long enough? Nope, not quite. Okay, so, darn it, I shouldn't have thrown that away. Oh well, life goes on. Okay, now I'm going to take this one and do the same thing. And I'm going to put a little bit at the top. Did I put it on the top? No, I didn't. I'm lying. I am lying. But I am going to put some at the top of this one. Looks like I didn't get quite enough glue on there, so we'll just put a little bit on the basic white right there like that. Okay. Now, before, I'm going to put a little strip along the bottom as well, but I want to stamp on it before I do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take somewhere I've got my Petal Pink ink, and I'm going to stamp one of these little flowers. I'm going to do it right about here. I'm also going to do one on this little, this is just a scrap of basic white. So I'm going to go ahead and do it right there. Clean off my stamp. Then I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of this, if I use the right adhesive, I'm going to put another one of these little strips along the bottom. Oops, and you know what? On this one, I wanted it to go all the way to the top, but it's been there too long, so that's okay. Not a problem. We'll live with it. Okay, now put this one, I'm going to put it all the way on the bottom. Just like so. Okay, now let me get a little bit, another little white scrap. My scrap just wasn't quite big enough to do everything I wanted to do, because I also need a couple of leaves, but I can figure out where my leaf stamp is. Here it is. Okay. I want to put a little bit, make sure I'm in the frame here, put a little bit coming over the edge like that. And then I'm going to put a couple on here. And you can probably guess what's going to happen next. We're going to do a little bit of fussy cutting. I do wish this set had dies with it, because I think it would be really, really cool. But it isn't hard at all to fussy cut these things. So we're just going to go around this flower really quick. Being sure to move my paper, not my scissors. Oh, good, Jason. I'm glad you received it. You're very welcome. I'm sorry it took me so long to get it out to you. Sometimes we just have issues, right? Okay. As we round the corner here. So I am still, I told you guys a while ago that I was, why can't I think of the word, binging all of the old Love Boat episodes, okay? So I am on season 6 now, and I'm having the best time watching this, you guys. It is a riot. It cracks me up. It's so cheesy. And you know, it's so funny. I don't know if I mentioned this part before or not, but for me to watch it now and see how much went totally over my head when I watched it as a kid. Like, you know, I knew people went on there and on the Love Boat and they fell in love and all that. I did not realize well, first of all, I didn't realize that the cruise was only 3 days. And these people are like, get on the cruise and 3 days later, they're engaged and they're getting married. Cracks me up. But they're also, you know, doing other things, which is, you know, adulty things, which is totally fine. But it just cracks me up that I had no clue. That totally went over my head. And, you know, I don't know how old I was when I was watching it, but I was probably about 10. So, you know, I think I was old enough to have picked it up. And I have no idea how I missed it. Now, I do know, I remember it was on at 9 o'clock. And, you know, prime time was up until 9 o'clock. So if they had shows that had that kind of content, they had to be on after 9. And I knew that even then. So again, you'd think that would have allowed me to pick up on that, but I didn't. And so it just, that alone makes me laugh, that it was like, how oblivious can you be? That, you know, this was all happening in 3 days and people were finding their lifelong person, which, you know what, I know that does happen in real life, you know, love at first sight, that kind of thing. But boy, it happened a lot on those cruises. Okay, so let's see, one more here. I should have cut these ahead of time, you guys. I'm really sorry. I was thinking this will go pretty fast, and it's taking me a little while tonight. I'm just a little slow on the draw tonight. Slow on the cut, I should say. This one is not coming out very smooth at all. I think I'm probably moving my scissors around instead of moving my paper. One thing about fussy cutting is, especially when you leave this little halo around your image, you can always go back and trim it up a little bit and smooth it out. So even when it's not perfectly smooth, as long as you've left yourself a little wiggle room, you can do that. Okay. I'm not too worried about the stem part because I'm going to be cutting those off because they don't show anyway. But I do kind of want to smooth these parts out just a little bit. Okay. Well, thank you, Talina. I appreciate that. You know, I've said it before, I used to really hate fussy cutting, and I really don't mind it now. I've just gotten to where I'm a lot more comfortable with it. And, oh, my husband must be getting ready to go for his run because he just let the dog back into my office. Let's see if I can do this without him eating any of my supplies today. Like the week he ate my... Phineas! The week he ate my tweezers. That was really enjoyable. Okay. Just stuck my thumb in the ink. Okay, so now let's just piece this together. So let's go ahead and put this piece on the front. That way we know where everything is laying. So I'm just going to line it up right there. Okay, and then take this one, I'm going to line it up on that side. I'm sorry, Phineas, you're stuck in here with me now. But you've got plenty of toys over here. Come play with your toys. Oh, my poor abused dog. Okay, so see how this goes together like this? Okay, let's go ahead and glue this to our card. All you need to do now is you fold this into its little Z pattern and then place it, for me, I placed it in the middle of this piece right here. That's how I wanted it to line up. So I'm going to put a little bit of tear and tape on the back just because it's going to open and close and do all sorts of stuff like that. And so I want to make sure it's stuck down there really well. And I don't know if you see a little nose pop on the screen. Yeah, you can see a nose. That's my assistant right there. There's nothing up here for you, buddy. He has just discovered that he is tall enough to get his little front feet up on my desk to see what's going on up here. There's never anything that, there's always exciting stuff going on, but nothing that I think would interest him. Okay, so remember when you use tear and tape, take your bone folder and just press it in really well so that you know that it's stuck in there to your paper really well. Now I'm going to take the release tape off. Okay, hold on, Phineas, and I'll let you out. We'll open the door and you can go out there, but give me just a minute. Okay, so like I said, I'm sticking this right about the center of my card, just like that. Now what I'm going to do, open it up, I'm going to close it, and I'm going to put some tear and tape. Hang on. There you go. I think he thinks my husband's out there doing something exciting without him. Okay, so strip of tear and tape, probably a couple strips actually, just because I want to make sure I get it on there really well. And be sure to only put it on this side because this part right there isn't actually attached to anything, isn't going to be attached to anything. So tear off my release tape. Now, make sure your card is closed. This big Z is closed. Now close this one this way. See, and now it'll open like this. Easy, right? Let's go ahead and finish decorating it. So we have our big flower right here, and I'm going to pop it up with some dimensionals. There we go. And let's see, this part is going to hang off the edge a little bit, so I don't want to put dimensionals where it's going to hang over the edge. So I'm just going to go like that. And then let's see, put it right about there, like that. I want to make sure my dimensionals aren't going over the edge. Kind of is a little bit there, but it'll still be okay, I think. Okay, now I've got my little leaves. Like I said before, I'm going to trim off. I don't know why I didn't trim these off when I was cutting them. And I'm going to use my liquid glue here. And let's see, let's put one right about there. I don't want it that far out though. My dimensional's kind of in the way there. And I only put the glue at the end because I do like it when the tips of the leaves kind of stick up a little bit. I think it just adds a little bit of dimension to the card. Put that one right there. And there's that part. Now we just have a couple last minute things that we need to do, like putting on our sentiment. And of course I've got some champagne rhinestones to add to that because of course, why wouldn't you? And I'm going to use the soft suede ink to do my sentiment. Let's find the right sentiment. Here it is. And it says, "You matter to me." And I tried several different of our brownish shades to see what I liked the best. And with this particular DSP, I liked the soft suede. Now I should have stamped this before I laid it down on my card because of course it wasn't perfectly flat. And you know the rule about stamping before you before you glue stuff. So if you need to redo it, you can. But the stamping gods were shining their faces upon me tonight, and that worked out just okay. Kathy, you're absolutely right. He is a helper. At least he thinks he's a helper. Hey, Marcy, I didn't see you sneak in. Okay, so there's card number 1, you guys. What do you think? There we go. With our little card within a card. Okay? So card, oh, no. Didn't do oh, and I have brass butterflies too. Oh my goodness, you guys. Almost forgot all the good stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these itty bitty little champagne rhinestones and I'm going to put them in the center. I don't know where that one just went. I'll find it in some weird place later, I'm sure. And I'm just kind of decorating the center of the flower there. Now, just to give you an idea, in my other one, the center of the flower did stick up a little bit on that background flower. So I just added a couple more of the rhinestones on that one. Now on this one, I don't really see the center of the flower, so we don't really need to add them. But I did want to point it out that that's something to think about. Now, if I could get this bag open and put these away. And then I've got my brass butterflies. These are in the January through June mini catalog. So these are retiring also at the end of the month. So these are a really neat little thing to add to your cards. They're flat, so they don't add a lot of bulk. And you definitely want to get these before they're gone. Put another one right up there. There we go. Oh, I don't like it that angle. It looks like he's drunk. Okay, there we go. Sobered him up. So there's our card, much better with all our little sparklies and our butterflies. So, card number 1 is underway. Or not underway, it's done. It's in the books. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Marcy. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, let's put that aside. So that's the fun fold that I have for you. Now, are you guys ready to learn a really fun and easy technique? And you can do this technique with designer series paper. You can do it on things that you've stamped. Super duper easy. Okay, so this card is going to use the Lovely and Lasting stamp set along with, it's actually you can buy it as a bundle where you also get this punch that punches out this stamp. You may have seen me use it before. So we're going to do this tonight. And let me show you the card we're making, and I'll tell you a little about the technique. Got my envelope, of course, and here's the card. There's the inside. Now, I don't know how well, see, yeah, you can see it on the camera. See how this is textured? This is called the faux silk technique, and super easy to make. I'm going to show you how to do it, okay? And it really does give a neat effect. So let's start by doing our envelope. Now, I did not use the technique on the envelope, and when I show you how to do it, I'll show you why I didn't put it on the envelope. So let's get the glue on there. So did anybody do anything really fun with their 3-day weekend this last weekend? My daughter came to visit, and she brought a couple of her little girlfriends with her. And so that was a lot of fun. I haven't gotten to see her since Christmas. She is 20. She'll be 21 in December. She is the youngest of my trio. Well, I actually have 4 if you count my stepson, and I do count him. Anyway, so she came to visit. She lives over on the other side of the state. It was great to get to see her. Okay, so now I'm going to trim off the extra. You guys know the drill. You've seen me do this before. This is another designer series paper that I really, really love. This is the Hostess Paper, and you don't necessarily have to host a party to be able to earn it. but you can. If you get a few orders together with a few friends and collect $150 in orders, you can earn this as a hostess. Or if you place an order of your own of that size, no judgment here, then you can earn it that way as well. So it doesn't have to actually be a party. A party's just the easiest way to do it, or probably the easiest way to explain to your spouse. Okay, so let's take a peek at this technique. You want to cut your designer series paper a little bit bigger than what you're going to need, because you are going to end up trimming a little bit off. So I have this piece here, and then I also have a strip right here. Okay, now what I have here, this is our Marcy, least judgment in this group. I don't think anyone in this group would judge. Okay, so this is our adhesive paper, adhesive backed paper. I think that's what it's called. You get 12, I think it's 12 by 6 sheets of this. So a package of it really does last a long time. Now what I'm going to do is I cut these to fit the strip of designer series paper that I have. So let's go ahead and put this first one on. And it comes in little, you can see like there's, I don't know if you can see, there's little lines in this, and it's so that you can break it off in little strips. It just makes it a little bit easier. Do be careful because it does stick to your fingers. And one thing I learned is that, oops, when it sticks to your fingers, it comes off, and you need that adhesive to be on here to go onto your designer series paper. So I have my 2 strips. I thought I accidentally threw away the wrong side. I threw away the piece with the adhesive instead of the piece with the backing. Oh, I might have actually lined that up wrong. Okay, so let's try lining this piece up here. Okay. That's okay. If we have to, we'll trim it down a little. Let's go ahead and put the adhesive paper on the big one too. So I'm pulling off these sheets and just line them up on my designer series paper, just like this. Okay. Oops. Okay. Get this lined up, get this last piece on here. Okay, so I've got it on here. I'm just gonna take my bone folder and go over it just to make sure I get it pressed in really nice, just like you do with the tear and tape. Now what we're going to do is start with this little one, and I'm going to peel the release tape off. Oops, it's not on there very well. So I'm just going to press it down again. Press it nice and hard just to make sure that it stays. Now I'll use my tear and tape to start, my take your pick tool to start pulling it off. There we go. The other thing, by using your take your pick tool, you're not sticking it to yourself. Now I have a piece of tissue paper. This is just cheap white wrapping paper tissue that I bought at the dollar store. You don't need to buy, you know, the expensive stuff at Hallmark. And you're going to crumple it up. I know that's painful for some people to watch. Now pull it apart. One thing to watch for is sometimes the cheap tissue paper like this has sort of a shiny side. If it does, you just want that shiny side to be down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this on my paper. I'm not going to pull it out to flatten it out because I want all those lumps and bumps. And see, I'm just pressing it down on there like that. Let's do the big one now. Okay, let's press it down better. All right. Take your big tool and start peeling off the release paper. Okay. It's very, very sticky. Okay, so now I have my piece. I'm just going to crumple it all up. Again, sorry for the pain that may cause. Make sure that the shiny side is down. And not all of the tissue paper like this has a shiny side. I'm just saying that watch for it because some does. And if it does, you want to make sure to... ooh, that's going to be... I don't know. That came down a little further than I wanted. That's okay. We're going to make it work. Okay, now what I need to do is take my trimmer and I'm just going to trim off these edges. And this is why I made it a little bit big, so I didn't have to worry about if I accidentally cut it too small when I was trimming. So let me grab my trimmer. And let's see, I want this piece. Cut right there. And cut just a teeny tiny bit off this edge because I know I want to take most of it off that other edge since I didn't get my tissue paper all the way down. Oh, guess what? If you use the scoring blade, it won't cut your paper. Surprise, surprise. There we go. Now, let's see. I want this to be 5 1/8. Dang it, I just did it again and cut with my scoring. Okay, so this is going to be showing a little bit where this is, and I don't like that. But you know what I can probably do is I can take a little bit extra that I have here. We're going to try to see if this works. I haven't done this before, but I'm just going to add it on and see how that looks. And if it doesn't look good, then you know not to do that. Oh, it's probably gonna show where that line is. I know a way around this. Well, maybe not. Well, we're just gonna give it a whirl and see what happens. Yeah, it does kind of show that line. Okay, well, now you know that that doesn't work so well and that you don't want to do that. What not to do with heather sides. Well, it's not too terrible. I'm just going to use my scissors here my snips to trim it. There we go. Okay, so that's how you do it. That's all there is to it. Oh, I guess I should trim this one. I have a feeling I cut this to the size I wanted rather than the size I needed. That's exactly what I did. So I want to be careful trimming it. Maybe I'll just use my snips since it's such a small piece. Cut off the edge there. Yeah, I think I do want to use my trimmer just so that I've got just a little bit better edge. Yeah, we can trim that little bit off with the snips, but this gives us a nice little edge. Oh, and you can't even see what I'm doing here because I'm off the screen. There we go. And then if you have some edges that are a little bit fuzzy, you can trim that up with your snips. Just like that. Okay. There we go. Heather sides, making easy stuff look difficult. But that's all there is to it, you guys. You use our adhesive sheets, lay it down on your designer series paper, and then put the tissue over it. Easy peasy. Looks like I've got a little bit of extra still on there, so let's trim that off. Okay, so now we have that nice little raw silk look. Now, another step that I like to do is color my ribbon. This is our Crinkle seam binding. And it's really funny. I avoided this seam binding for a long time because I didn't like the crinkly look. I thought it looked like it needed to be ironed, and it really bothered me. Well, I got some, and I started playing with it, and now I'm wishing I had been playing with it all along. It ties so easily because it's so lightweight. It really is nice. It colors super easy. So you have any color you possibly need. You just take your Stampin' Blends and do what I'm doing right here and color it. I do like to, when I'm coloring my ribbon, I like to actually do it at the beginning of the project. It just gives that ink a little bit of time to settle in and dry before you need it. It's alcohol ink, so it does dry really fast anyway. But just giving it that little bit of extra time is nice. And I just colored it with Faux Saffron. Okay. Now, I've got a half a sheet of Faux Saffron cardstock here that I cut lengthwise, so it's 11 by 4.5, or I'm sorry, 11 by 4 1/4. The score line is at 5.5, which is right in the middle. Get myself a nice crisp edge on that fold. And let's go ahead and do the inside of the card first. I'm just going to go ahead, let's see what I did. I made these a little while ago so that I could have everything done before my daughter came, and then I don't quite remember what I did. Okay, so we have our, oh yay, we have our the little strip that we created of our faux silk, and we're just going to put it right along the bottom there. It is a little bit wider than what I need, and that is by design so that I can just trim off the edges. So we'll glue that die down. Okay, and use my liquid glue because that gives me some wiggle room to move it around, line it up, make sure it's right where I want it. Now we'll trim off the extra. There, and that's going to be the inside of our card. Lots of pieces of stuff lying around at this point. And you could do a message on the inside of your card if you want. I think I've mentioned before, I tend to not do inside messages very often myself because my handwriting is really big. So I kind of need that room to write my own personal message inside the card. If you have really small handwriting or you don't typically have a lot to say, then put some stamps in there. Fill it up that way, and then you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so there's the inside of our card. Now for the outside of our card, first I've got a piece of our Blackberry Bliss. And you know what's funny is I would not have thought to put Blackberry Bliss and Faux Saffron together, but I really like how they work. And I got the idea just from my designer series paper. So pay attention to your paper because it can give you ideas for color combinations that you might not have thought to use otherwise. Now we're going to just glue that piece right on there. Got just a tiny little margin, so it's just a little pop of color around the edge of our main piece. Then I'm going to take my ribbon. By the way, when you color your ribbon and it feels kind of stiff and starchy a little bit afterward, if you just run your fingers through it a little bit like this after it's had a chance to dry, it does take some of that stiffness out. So I'm just going to wrap this around and tie a nice little bow. I just love how easily, how nicely this ribbon ties. So I'm totally sold on it now. Like I said, I wasn't before. I put it off for a long time because it looked messy to me, to tell you the truth. Like I said, I thought it needed to be ironed. Now I'm just going to slide this down a little bit to where I want it. But anyway, I've decided that just the ease with which you can tie a bow with it has won me over big time. So let's trim the tails here. And now let's go ahead and glue this guy down. Make sure this is straight. But you can line this up, you know, wherever you want it. And I just like it kind of toward the bottom there like that. And stick it on there on the card. Now I've got my little scrap of white. And I'm going to, first I'm going to take my Faux Saffron ink. And I'm going to stamp that little frame. Little frame, where'd you go? There it is. Okay, ink it up. Stamp it right there. Oh, I hope I gave myself enough room there to cut that out. Then put that one away. And I'm going to open up my Blackberry Bliss. And I am going to stamp Happy Birthday. Now this I actually used 2 different stamps. And one of them is kind of crooked on there right now, it looks like. So let me line it up a little bit. But I have this one that's these little swirlies, and then the one that's Happy Birthday. What I did ahead of time is I laid them on my grid paper here, and then I put my block where I wanted it so that I could just do it all in one stamp. And right in the middle of that little frame. Sort of crooked. Okay, we will move on. Okay, now I'm going to feed this into my punch. Line it up here just like this. There we go. And we'll use some dimensionals to go ahead and pop that up. If you can get your dimensionals to come off of the sheet there. Mine were not cooperating. Okay, Actually, and you know what? I worry about sagging, so let's put more right in the middle there. You can never have too many dimensionals, right? Peel these little backs off. Okay, now what I want to do is I kind of want to straddle the ribbon, but with this ribbon it's so fine it probably wouldn't create a problem if the dimensionals were up on the ribbon. But here I'm putting my little frame with the happy birthday in it, let my bow overlap, and then just to give it a little bit of extra something or other, I've got my Iridescent Basic Pearls. These are so beautiful. These are new in the brand new annual catalog. Let's put a few of these guys on here. They're so pretty. I love them. Oops. Put one, let's see, one right there. And then I'm going to put a smaller one next to it. Oh. There. And then let's put another small one. Let's see, right about there. There. So there's our card. See how quick and easy that was? And that faux silk technique, I just absolutely love it. I love how it kind of mutes the paper. I saw some absolutely beautiful samples of this where rather than using designer series paper, they stamped like a floral image or something really pretty on basic white and then did it over their stamped image, and it was gorgeous. So there's a lot you can do to play with that technique. Let's go ahead and put this card away and we'll get going on our final card. So for this card, of course, I had to use my layering circles. You know me, I have to use them. I also used my stripes and splatters embossing folder. We're using the splatters one. And then nuts and bolts. This is in the January through June mini catalog. I am so sad to see this guy retire. You guys know I was in love with this little robot right there, and I'm brokenhearted. So I had to do something with him, you know, before he goes away. So I'm going to show you a fun little card with this guy. Marcy says she can't wait to try that technique. I was in the exact same boat. When I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this right away. And I loved it. I mean, it's easy, but it's got a really stunning effect. I liked it. I just really liked it a lot. Okay, so here's our little robot card. Pretty simple, actually. And I used the glimmer paper or glitter paper or something like that with the new in colors. I used the Starry Sky. I also used the Starry Sky Designer Series paper and the Starry Sky cardstock. So let's get going with this guy. We'll do the envelope first. Okay. Hi, Phineas. Are you back to eat something of mine? Little monster. Okay. You know, I just cleaned all the glue off of my scissors because it had built up and it just needed to be done. And now they're all gluey again. Just in case you don't know this, if you do get that glue buildup on your scissors, and chances are pretty good that you will at some point, all you have to do is take rubbing alcohol and a cotton pad and wipes right off. Okay, whoops, got a little bit of extra on there. Let's take that off. Okay. Set that aside. Now, just a standard basic card card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. And then I took a piece of, I have 2 sheets of basic white cardstock right here. One's for the inside, one's for the outside. For the inside, here's just a narrow little strip of the glimmer paper in the Starry Sky that I'm just going to put on here. I liked having the darker blue on there, so I chose to do this and cut off the lighter end. But if you like the lighter, you can do it the other way. You can also do it right smack dab in the middle, so you get a little of both. It is totally up to you how you like it. And I'm going to put a little glue on here. Eek. Getting glue everywhere now. There we go. Needs to kind of be evened out a little bit, it looks like. There we go. Cut off that extra bit of strip. Okay, so there's the inside of our card. Let's go ahead and glue it into place. And don't forget, everybody, when you comment, even if you just say, hi from San Diego or whatever, everybody who comments, your name goes into a drawing for next week's prize. I guess I forgot to explain that at the beginning, that that's what the prize is all about. So even if you're watching this video on a replay on YouTube or here on Facebook, as long as you comment, I go in the afternoon before I do next week's video and I see who all commented, put your name in a drawing, and that person gets a prize that I announce at the beginning of next week's video. So please participate, comment, join in the conversation. It's always a lot of fun. Okay, now this basic white piece, we're not going to do anything to it except for stick it down onto our card. Is not centered very well. There we go. That's better. Okay, now I have this piece that I've already run through my embossing folder. It's the splatters. You can see that there on the screen. And I'm just going to go ahead and mount that onto my cardstock. There's just a little tiny bit of a margin. Then I'm going to take this strip. Let me move some of these little bags out of the way here. Got this little strip of my glimmer paper. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue it right onto the back side of that piece like that. So get my liquid glue, just because this glimmer paper, this side of it, doesn't like adhesive a whole lot, and it seems like the liquid glue seems to work the best. So I'm just going to set it there. I do want to make sure I've got it fairly even. Keeps sticking to my finger. Okay, so there's that piece right there. Now we're going to go ahead and stick that down onto our card. Oops, I keep fiddling with it and then it's uneven again. I do the same thing when I cut my bangs, you guys. I should not be trusted with scissors. Okay, so now let's go ahead and glue this guy down. And I'm just, whoops, upside down. And I'm just going to go ahead and eyeball where I'm putting it, where it's kind of centered up and down. So it's kind of centered vertically. I want it to be crooked, but I don't want it going over my edges. So just like that. Then we're going to take this strip, this just little white, basic white strip, and I've got this circle I cut with my layering circles. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take, I have this little brush. This is my blending brush. I love these, you guys. I could just sit here and pet the brush all day long. They're so soft. And I'm going to take my Starry Sky ink. Get a little bit of ink on here. I don't need a whole lot. I'm going to tap off a bunch of extra because I really want this to be kind of light. And then I'm just kind of doing a little bit of a circle around here like this. I'm not doing the whole thing. I'm just a little bit on there. Just gives it a little something extra. Next, I'm going to take my robot stamp and my my black Memento ink. And I'm going to put him right here. There we go. See how that gives just a little pop of color in the background without it overpowering my stamped image? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my, did I use the light or the dark? I think I used both. Okay, so I've got my Starry Sky blender pens, or Stampin' Blends. And first I'm going to take the dark one, and I'm just going to go around the outer edge of this heart. Just like that. Now I'm going to take the light one and start pulling some of that dark into the center. And see how I've kind of left it white in the very center? I'm letting it bleed a little bit so that it just naturally closes up, and then I'm just very lightly going over that to close it up. I also want to take my Starry Sky ink and stamp my sentiment, which says, "Greetings, kind human." That cracks me up. I don't know why that amuses me as much as it does, but it does. I'm just going to stamp it right there on that little strip. The strip is about a ½ inch wide. Actually, I bet you it's about 3/8 of an inch. Clean off my stamp. Okay. Now I have this tiny little strip, very, very narrow strip. It's about a 1/16 of an inch, and it is just the Starry Night DSP. I'm sorry, not DSP, but cardstock. I'm just going to make a little tiny glue line here, maybe. And I'm going to line this up right in the center. And it's just slightly longer than the white strip so that it sticks out just a little bit. I'm trying to make sure that it's centered vertically. I think I did okay horizontally, but I want to make sure that it's vertically centered as well. And even, so there we go. Now we're going to stick some dimensionals on the back of that. Okay, set that aside for the moment. Whoops, that's not the card I meant to grab. this one. Let's go ahead and put our little robot guy on there. We're going to use some, I'm actually going to use some foam adhesive tape, or my foam adhesive sheets here, just because it's a little bit bigger. Let's see, find a little scrap that fits the size I want. Okay, and let's see, I want to make sure, I'm going to put it right there. The reason I'm putting it there instead of putting it on the back of my circle is because I wanted to make sure that it didn't go off of the card. There, just like that. There's our little robot-y guy. I have this one up higher than or lower than I did on my sample one, and I kind of liked it better where it was. Kind of like that. There we go. That's better. Bend it back out. Okay, so now let's put our sentiment on there. Taking the backs off of the dimensionals. Okay, and I'm going to put this at a bit of an angle as well. There we go. And then, just to add a little bit more something, I've got our solid faceted gems that have this really pretty bright blue. And let's put some dots on the card just to fill up a little bit of space and add a little bit of interest. And again, doing it in a pattern of 3. There, just like that. And there's card number 3. So let's put this away, and we'll go ahead and get stuff put away and take another peek at everything that we made tonight. Okay. Okay. So I clean up my space. Okay. So first we have this great little card that we made with my favorite little robot guy that I'm going to cry when he leaves me. Then we have the faux silk technique and the colored ribbon where we colored the crinkled ribbon. I should put these this way so that you can see them. And then finally we also have this pretty little fun fold with the double Z fold. And there you go, using our textured chic designer series paper. Oh, thank you for the hearts, everybody. I would love it if you would give me thumbs up and hearts if you like what you saw tonight. That just helps tell the algorithm powers that be that this might be something other people want to see. If you follow me on my YouTube page, if you don't yet, you can go over there and you can subscribe. I have a goal right now where I'm trying to get up to 250 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love it if you do. If you click on the little bell icon, it'll let you know whenever I upload new videos. Thank you, Marcy. That's very, very kind of you. If you want to purchase any of the items that I used tonight, any of the items that are about to retire, any of the new stuff coming out, I would love to earn your business at heathersides.stampinup.net. If your order is under $150, I'd love it if you could use my June host code. This helps me to be able to continue to provide these videos for free along with the drawings that I do. And don't forget to comment so that your name goes into the drawing. And again, if you need to contact me for any reason, you can email me at stamphappenings@gmail.com, or you can send me a private message here on Facebook. Back to this host code, I want to remind you though, if your order is over $150, please don't use the host code. You will have some free products coming to you. I want to make sure that you are the one who receives them. So thank you, Mary. That's very nice of you. I'm glad you guys liked the cards tonight. I will have more fun cards for you guys next week, so I can't wait to see you then. Everybody have a great week.